Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to explore, talk about Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick is a very popular science fiction writer. In fact, I am sure you've heard of him. If you don't recognize the name, then I'm sure you recognize his works because they are all over the mainstream. He has written books such as, for instance, The Man in the High Castle, and that one was turned into a TV series, and many other books. He has written a popular book that was what is the name of Blade Runner was inspired or is Philip K. Dick's work. There was a Keanu Reeves movie, a digital film that I can't remember the exact name, or the name for that matter, that was also Philip K. Dick's work. So why is fiction important? When I was growing up, I didn't pay much attention to fiction. I was interested in things that are. I'm just clicking off the pop-ups here. I was when I was growing up, I was interested in things that were real, things that were not. I wasn't interested in lies or make-believe. Only several years ago, I got into things that are fiction. And Philip K. Dick caught my interest, especially with this speech that he gave. I believe it's in 1970s, or well, okay, let's maybe perhaps the year is given. Let's listen. 1977.
This speech is a topic.
It's freezing again every time. I don't know why it keeps freezing. That's the second time I've tried to record this video. Okay, well.
Which has been discovered recently and which may not exist at all. I may be talking about something that does not exist. Therefore, I'm free to say everything or nothing. I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own worlds throughout or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing. At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities lying tangent to what evidently is the most actualized one, the one which the majority of us, by consensus gentium, agree on. Later that day, back home again, but still deeply under the influence of the sodium pentothal, I had a short, acute flash of recovered memory. Then, in mid-March, a month later, the total body of memories, intact and entire, began to return. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance. At that time, I had no idea what I was seeing. It resembled nothing that I had ever heard described. It resembled plasmic energy. It had colors. It moved fast. It collected and then dispersed. But what it was, what he was, I am not sure even now. In other words, it's a common theme in my writing that a dark-haired girl shows up at the door of the protagonist and tells him that his world is delusional, that there's something false about it. Well, this did finally happen to me. I even knew that her hair would be black. I actual complete sense of what she would look like and what she would say. She did appear, she was a total stranger, and she did inform me of this fact, that some of my fictional works were in a literal sense true. I wrote out these dreams in novel after novel, story after story. To name two in which this prior ugly present obtained most clearly, I cite The Man in the High Castle and my 1974 novel about the U.S. as a police state called Flow My Fears, the Policeman Said. I'm going to be very candid with you. I wrote both novels based on fragmentary residual memories of such a horrid slave state world. People claim to remember past lives. I claim to remember a different, very different present life. I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect that my experience is not unique. What perhaps is unique is the fact that I'm willing to talk about it. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
Okay. So, Philip K. Dick, a science fiction writer. So what is the value of science fiction? These pop-ups are just annoying. Well, why would the control system invest time, money into promoting science fiction? Or at least in an attempt to control it by having writers such as Philip K. Dick write only a certain aspect of science fiction. Well, because we have to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so first of all, if it's not clear, what I'm saying is Philip K. Dick is control opposition. Okay? Philip K. Dick, you cannot make it to the mainstream and have your books turned into be talked about on TV all over the media unless you're part of that system. Not possible. So to me, it's intuitively clear. So when I started reading his books, something was off. I just couldn't put my hands on it, my finger on it. But the endings to some of his books were just like, seriously, this is how you end a book? It's just The Man in the High Castle. And then what's the other one he talked about? Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. Something to that effect. I was just like, this... So basically, what science fiction, to go back to the main point, what science fiction aims to do, what those who are controlling the media, the books, promoting certain ideas in science fiction, what they're trying to do is to make sure that we think a certain way about fiction. Because if you take the premise that the world is not real, the world is fake, okay, in the sense that physicality is only merely a slowdown of our vibrational energy, our awareness. So creation doesn't exist. So as Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. So an illusion in the sense that what is physical isn't really physical, it's really fluid. So going from that premise that the world isn't real, in the way that we've been programmed to think that it's real. Physicality isn't real. Nothing is really physical. It's really lucid. We are only perceiving a small, minute, less than 1% of the totality of what is. Going from that premise that the world isn't real should give you a clue that if it's not real, then you can make anything up. You can slow things down or speed it up slightly to make anything real. Dinosaurs can be real, and dinosaurs can exist in physicality, not real, but we can pretty much make anything possible. So this is where science fiction comes in, because if you can control, at least gear people toward a way of thinking about make-believe in science fiction, then you can control what they are capable of thinking, or perceiving, or making up in their imagination. Imagination is important because if you can perceive it, you can think about it, you can manifest it, if you can perceive it, if you think about it hard enough, and you begin to believe it. Well, let's just say that make-believe could be a way out of the matrix. So hence, science fiction also must be people with a highly imaginative thought or mind must be geared towards a certain way of thinking. Let's go a little deeper. There's 1,000 things going through my mind right now, but let's explore one element. In The Man in the High Castle, Philip K. Dick talks about World War II and Hitler and so forth, and if I remember correctly, Hitler, yes, okay. And so basically, he provides an ending and something about an alternative world. Well, okay, so if you think about the idea that, okay, so we have a world where Hitler existed, right? Supposedly Hitler existed. And given certain world events, these world events has led to where we are now. Well, what if I told you that most of the news that we see is made up? It could be possible that, the whole Hitler thing, the whole Hitler, in the sense that World War II was manufactured, made up in the sense that it was manufactured for us to have violence. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. If we think about it in those terms, you can see that, well, already I think most of us, or a lot of us are aware, a lot of us who are awake are aware that most of the news is fake anyway. It's made up, and if it's not completely made up, it's geared toward us thinking about certain things in a certain way. So this is what this is the usefulness of Philip K. Dick. He is here to give us a limited perception and to think about the false news they've been giving us, and not to consider other possibilities, to keep our minds occupied. So Philip K. Dick, does that ring a bell? Does what he is doing here, giving boldly going on TV or in front of the media to give a hero's declaration of breaking the silence and telling the people, what is real, at least, telling the truth, right? He only gave us a snippet of what is. What does that? I mean, to me, when I heard this, years later, once I put the pieces together, it reminded me of John F. Kennedy going on TV or in front of the media to talk about uh, conspiracy, an overall monolithic conspiracy against the people. Well, John F. Kennedy was also control opposition. Was also control opposition to give the impression that he's on the side of the people, and it's the same thing here for Philip K. Dick. Hopefully, some of you will see that sooner than later. Good luck on your journey. Philip K. Dick. Control opposition to have us limit our awareness about what is possible. Oh, I was also going to say something else. In the world, in a universe where nothing is real except fluidity of ourself, nothing is real except light, and light is slowed down to have us perceive physicality, anything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. So that is okay. That's basically what I've said. I've already pretty much covered what I just wanted to make sure that I hammer that point in. Good luck on your journey in the universe, and good luck back to source consciousness.